All available experts, please report to room A9.
Hey guys, Hector here. Today I'll be going over the module Recolored switches. This is part of the coloured switch family, namely coloured, multicolored, not coloured, recolored and uncolored. And today we're going to be going over this one. You can tell which one it is because only the first LED will be lit. So there'll be 5 colour switches on the module with 10 LEDs beneath them. So we're going to be flipping 10 switches in total. We're using the tables here to decide which switch to flip. The colour of the switch won't matter for flipping it, but it will matter for the next flip. We're using the table below to determine number, flip the switch in that number position, aka 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. However, for the first stage, we're going to be using the colour for the centre switch because we don't have a previous switch. Because here it says last flip switch. Since it's the first one, we don't have a last flip switch. So we'll just be assuming that, say someone was here before and they flipped this one. So our last flip switch for this one is going to be blue. But which table do we use? If there are too few switches in the up position, there is not. So we're going to be using this table for now. Do note it can switch between tables during the solving of this module. So if 3 or more switches are in the up position, that is correct. So we're going to be using the blue in this one. Lastly, this one is red.
Emergency cleared. All personnel, please return to your stations.
So the first switch we'll be switching is number 1. Okay, so there are still more than three or more in the opposition, so we're going to still use this table. We last flipped a green, and the last LED is purple. We'll be flipping number 4. Last flipped was purple. Last LED is red. We still have 3 or more in the opposition. We'll be flipping 1. Still 3 or more in the opposition. Blue. No, wait, not blue. Green. But blue LED, green switch, blue LED, we're flipping 5. Still 3 or more. So cyan and blue is 1. So now we don't have 3 or more switches in the opposition. So we're going to be switching over to this table. So we last flipped a green. And the last LED is purple. We're going to be flipping 3. Staying at this table because we only have 1 in the opposition now. We last flipped 3, which was blue. And the LED is red, so we'll be flipping 4. Still 2 or fewer. So purple switch, and funny enough, purple LED, flipping 3. Switching back to this table because we now have 3 or more again. The last flip switch was the blue one, and we have a cyan LED. We'll be flipping 4. And finally, back up to this table because we have 2 or fewer in the opposition. Our last flip was purple, and our last LED is red, so finally we'll be flipping 3. That's self-module. Let's do it again. This time we have none in the opposition, so we're going to be using this top table to begin. Middle is purple. Remember, using the middle switch as our previously flipped switch for the first stage. Last LED is green. So first is 2. Only have 1 in the opposition, so still this table. Last flip was green. Last LED is blue. So we're going to be flipping the 5th one. We still have 2 or fewer. Last flip was red. Last LED is blue. We're flipping 3. Flipping over to this table because we have now 3 or more in the opposition. Last flipped was purple, and last LED is orange. this orange might look like yellow, but thankfully yellow does not exist in this table, so this is orange. So we're going to be flipping 5. We now have 2 or fewer again. So red was flipped. Last LED in reading order is white. So we're going to be flipping 2. 2 or fewer again. So last flipped was green. Last LED orange. Be flipping 4. 2 or fewer. Last flipped was blue. Last LED is cyan. Number 1. Last flipped 3 or more switches again in the opposition. So orange switch. Last LED is white. We're flipping 5. Still 3 or more. Last flipped red. And last LED is orange. So we're flipping 4. Finally 3 or more switches are in the opposition, so last flipped was blue. And last LED is purple. 3. And that's the sub-module. This module is a lot of back and forth, but when you get into the routine of it, it shouldn't be too bad. Just be wary of the 2 or fewer and 3 or more table flipping. Because if you miss one, there were very few here that match up. Like, for example, this one, it's fine if you mix it up because it's the same, but don't think you get lucky for all of them. So, hopefully you now understand how to do recolored switches, and I'll see you guys in the next tutorial.